Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really appreciate your support. I have, in these last few weeks, I've just been feeling so led to share more on YouTube and post more videos. And I'm just so glad that you are here and that you clicked on this video. My name is Kimmy. I am just so excited to join you on your journey and this experience for you. And I really hope that this video is able to touch you as much as it touches me. I'm making these videos for myself. I know that. And so I'm really hoping that it is able to meet you where you need to be met in the same way that it is doing for me. So yeah, let's just get right into it. I know exactly why your prayers are not being answered. Okay, and it's because you're not surrendering, you're not trusting, and you're too focused on the how. And I know this is the most difficult part. So let me get back to the title of this video. So actually, let me start from when I was growing up. So my parents are pastors, and when I was growing up, I never really heard the word manifesting. Like it wasn't a word that you hear, like you hear it all the time now, right? And when I was growing up, YouTube was like just created. So it wasn't really as big of a deal as it is now. So like manifestation content and things like that, it wasn't really what it is now. But I know when I was growing up, my parents always taught myself and my siblings and the people around them to watch what you say, because what you say will become your reality, right? Which is very similar to manifestation. So that was something that they always instilled in us is like watching what you say about your money, watching what you say about your health, watching what you say about your family members and whatnot, because that's what's going to come to pass, right? So I always had that thought in my mind growing up, and I always had faith in God because that's what I learned through the church. So when I was in high school, I think in my sophomore, maybe my junior year of high school, my father lost his job, and this was like 2007, 2008-ish. When a lot of people were being laid off. And so my father had lost his job, and I knew that I wanted to go to college. I knew that I wanted to move away from home and go to college. And I knew for a fact that I didn't want to have a financial burden on my parents. Like those were two things that I knew very adamantly, that I wanted to go away to college, and I didn't want it to be a financial issue for my family, especially with my dad going through a career change like he was. And so I think it was like the summer before my senior year of high school that I just wrote out a prayer in my journal, right? I wrote out this prayer, and a part of the prayer, I said in there, I will be able to go to school for free. I will be going to college for free. And I just wrote it in terms of gratitude. So I wrote it as like, I thank you, God, for making a way for me to go to college for free, for me to not have to pay anything for college, right? And that was the prayer. And every single morning, like I did not miss a day. Like I was really committed to this. I did not miss a day. Every single morning, I just read out this prayer word for word. And now the prayer had other things in there, like, y'all, I can't even remember like my teenage self and like what my teenage self was wanting to think about. If I find the journal, I'm sure it's still around somewhere. If I find it, I'll go back to it and see what I put in there. So it wasn't just talking about college, it was talking about other things as well. But I wrote out this prayer, and every single day I said this prayer before leaving the house. Every single morning. I read it word for word, like never deviated. I read it word for word before I left the house. And so I think it was spring break of my senior year of high school, spring break of my senior year of high school. And I went to go and visit my sister who was in college. And the college that I wound up attending was doing like a recruitment tour in my hometown. And my mom and my brother went to the recruitment event because they had brought their marching band, and my mom just loved the marching band. Like, they had no business being at the recruitment event. They weren't necessarily invited, but my mom wanted to see the band. And so they went to this event just to enjoy and listen to the music. And so I didn't go because I wasn't in town. I was hanging out with my sister. And so that night, I'm actually like about to cry thinking about it. That night, my mom called me and she was like so excited. And she was like, Kimmy, they offered you a scholarship. She was like, Kimmy, they offered you a scholarship. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, this school is not on my list. I didn't apply for any scholarship. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she was like, I don't know either, but they got up on stage, they called your name, they offered you a full ride scholarship at this event. And I was like, I was still so confused because I had not planned on going to this college. Like, it wasn't on my list of schools, and I wasn't even thinking about like going to school here. So when my mom was telling me this, I was like, I don't know what this woman is talking about. But she was like, don't worry about it. She was like, your brother went up there on stage. He accepted it for you. Like, we have all the paperwork here at home. Like, when you get home, you'll see it. But they offered you a full scholarship to go to school for free. Like, y'all, that is what I had been. Let me stop crying. That is what I had been praying for. And that is what I had written down. And so when my mom was calling me and she's like, you're going to school for free. Like, you have this opportunity to go to college for free. I was like, what? I was like, are you serious? And so, yeah. So when I got home, I read the paperwork, and lo and behold, they had offered me a $40,000 scholarship. So $10,000 every year for 4 years. And it covered absolutely everything. So my tuition and fees, my room and board, a cafeteria meal plan, it covered everything except my textbooks. So throughout college, that's all I had to pay for was my textbooks. And so I could not believe it, because I was like, I was just so thrown back, because this was the first time that I had ever, manifested something that, like, to the word. In that prayer book, I said, thank you, God, for making a way for me to go to college for free. And here I was, my mom was telling me, somebody just offered you to go to school for free. I could not believe it, y'all. And this was like the first time I really had manifested anything in my life. And I was just so grateful to God, and I just couldn't believe it. But I'm going to tell you, this is why it happened. And this is what you need to do, okay? Now, I'm going to put this disclaimer out there, because I know that circumstances and life is very different for everybody, right? I fully understand that and get that. So when I'm talking about like these tips, like, just know that I have that in my mind and I'm thinking about everybody. But one of the most important things is you have to surrender, right? You have to surrender, and you have to give it all to God. You have to have that faith in God, because if you don't have that faith, it's like a missing puzzle piece. Like, it's just not going to work. And you have to surrender. And the biggest part of that, please listen to this part. If you miss it, please rewind it. Listen to this part. You have to forget about the how, okay? Don't think about how is this going to happen, all right? The how is not your job. The how is not your job. The how is God's job. It's not your job. So don't even think about the how, okay? Just throw that out. Don't even think about it, and surrender and give it all to God. And the other thing is, you have to get into action. Okay. You have to do everything that you can do and then allow God to do the rest. Now, as a teenager, okay, I understand that I did not have bills at that time. I understand that my parents were taking care of me. I didn't have to think about groceries. I didn't have to think about mortgages or bills and things like that. So I understand that surrendering and letting go of the how is probably easier for a child than it is for an adult who has real responsibilities to think about. I totally sympathize and empathize with that. I get that, okay? But you still got to work on it, right? Because when you're so focused on the how is it going to come to me? Okay, but how is that going to come to me? That's doubt. You're allowing doubt into your mind. You're allowing doubt into your prayers. And there's just no way that you can allow God to work if you're filling all that space with doubt, right? So if you need to add that into your prayer, like, God, I don't know how you're going to make it happen, but I have faith that you're going to make it happen, then add that in there. But you have to let go of the how. Something that I say to myself all the time, like now in my present adult life, is the how is not my job. The how is God's job. And it's easy for him. It's easy for him. That's what you have to remember. Like, God doesn't have limits. It's you. It's us that's putting the limits on God. God doesn't have limits. So if you need to remind yourself of that, like I do, that's all I say. You know, the how is not my job. It's God's job, and it's easy for him, right? And another thing, back to my teenage self, I know that, again, as a teenager, I didn't have any real life responsibilities, but I knew everything that I needed to do to try to get to college for free, right? So I was doing everything that I could do. I was focusing on my grades to make sure that I got the best grades that I could get. I was focusing on my volunteering, like my volunteer hours and my extracurricular activities. I was focused on my testing, and I did like different types of like any sort of like free tutorings that I could get myself into. I did that in order to improve my standardized testing scores. So I was doing everything that I could do on earth, right? And then I just left the rest up to God. Like, this is all I can do. I can work on my grades. I can work on myself in order to help me get into a school. But God, you've got to do the rest, right? So I did what I could do. One, I forgot about the how, right? I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's up to you, God. This is what I want to happen. The want, like the what you want, the what I want, that's our job, right? Okay, so we figure out what it is that we want, and we leave the how to God. Like, the how is up to him. What do we say? The how is God's job, and it's easy for him, right? And the other thing is, you got to live your life, right? Don't wake up thinking about this manifestation and how you don't have it every single day. Don't put yourself in that space of what you're lacking every single day. Don't put yourself in a space of thinking of what you don't have every day, because that's not serving you in any way. And it's not helping the seeds that you're wanting to plant grow. It's not helping it at all. So you have to live your life in the same way that teenage Kimmy was already on a college campus, hanging out, having fun. I wasn't even thinking about how I was going to get, I just knew what was going to happen. I was not even thinking about how I was going to get to college, how I was going to pay for college. I was just enjoying my senior year of high school. And I was like, I've done what I can do, and God's going to make it happen. I'm going to live my life, right? So you got to live your life. You got to have a good time. You have to live your life and not be thinking about, oh, I don't have this yet. 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 And remember, I get it. I know that our circumstances are different, but our circumstances we can't allow it to rule our lives, right? We can't allow our circumstances to keep us in a dark place. We can't allow our circumstances to hold us back and to keep us trapped forever. So yeah, that is exactly, honestly, that's exactly why your prayers are not being answered. You got to move into action. You got to give God something to work with, right? You have to have faith in God. Leave it up to him. The how is his job. Forget about the how. Don't think about how it's going to happen. Don't put those limits on God. Don't even do it. And live your life, okay? Go about living your life. The more you enjoy, the more you have gratitude for what you do have now, and the more that you just live in joy and live in love and live in light, you'll see it come to you almost immediately. Like, your manifestation is going to come to pass. Your prayers are going to be answered so quickly, and you'll be like, what? You'll be just like 17-year-old me that was like, I'm sorry, what? Like, when did this happen? How did this happen? What's going on? Like, remind me again of what's happening. So yeah, guys, please, like, if you have a similar story, or if you have something that you are working on and you need help, if you need help with rewiring your thoughts, changing your thought patterns, if you need help with surrendering and forgetting about the how, just let me know. Like, leave a comment. Like, I really believe that in me posting these videos, that we are, all of us, we're creating a really great community where there's lots of faith, there's lots of love, there's lots of authenticity, and I'm so excited about that. I hope that you guys continue to bear with me and tune in with me, because I'm putting myself into action, right? I don't have this beautiful background, YouTube worthy background, and I don't have all the transitions and everything that you see on these other videos, but I have to get moving, right? I can't wait on perfection before I'm doing what God has called me to do. And so I'm walking in it, and I am asking you to walk with me, right? And I just would love if you would leave a comment. Just let me know what's going on in your life, how I can help, how I can be there for you, how I can support. Anything else that you're wanting to hear. If this video resonated with you in any way, if it has touched your heart in any way, I would love to hear that. But yeah, I'm so excited. Can't wait to see you guys in the next one.